What infantry fighting vehicles are used by NATO members in the Baltics and Nordics in the mid-2020s? While some would think, or at least hope, that everyone would be operating the CV-90 from BAE Systems, it's not actually the case. And so let's go around the Baltic Sea and take a look at who is using what. A few things to get out of the way before we begin. This video covers the Baltics and Nordics, but we're also going to be including our neighbours Germany and Poland. We also need to define what an infantry fighting vehicle, or IFV, actually is and what it isn't. Indeed, in the messy and oftentimes overlapping world of armoured fighting vehicles, it can be confusing. An IFV is an armoured vehicle designed for two things. 1. To carry a small group of soldiers into a combat zone, and 2. Stay on the battlefield/front line to give these same soldiers direct fire support, typically with a 20 to 40mm cannon. There are two similar yet different categories that may somewhat overlap with IFVs: armoured reconnaissance vehicles and fire support vehicles. The former is self-explanatory, as its main role is for reconnaissance and not full-on direct combat, while the latter tends to carry fewer soldiers in exchange for more ammunition and firepower. IFVs are not to be confused with APCs, which are battle taxis that lack a large caliber cannon on top to engage the enemy. But with that out of the way, let's start at the most northern Baltic nation, Estonia, work our way south, then move west to Poland and Germany, before moving up to Denmark and the other Nordic nations. First up is Estonia, who purchased 44 used CV-90 35NLs from the Netherlands in the mid-2010s, with delivery completed by 2019. These tracked vehicles used by its Scout Battalion were, up until recently, mostly the same as those used by the Netherlands, having a 3-person crew and room for 7 dismounts, and fitted with 76mm smoke/fragmentation grenade launchers. These vehicles feature a 35mm Bushmaster 3 cannon and 7.62mm FN Mag machine gun. We've been told that some of these IFVs have been lightly up-armoured over the years, but we don't have specifics on this bit of information. Now, Estonia was due to replace its older CV-90s with brand new ones, potentially through a large-scale CV-90 Mark IV joint procurement arrangement, but in April 2026 the country's defence forces decided to halt the major IFV acquisition programme, instead reallocating the over €500 million. As such, Estonia will extend the life of the existing CV-90 infantry fighting vehicles by at least 10 years, while reallocating other funds to things like air defence and drone tech, among other things. With Estonia out of the major joint procurement deal for CV-90 Mark IVs, the nations left standing are Lithuania, Finland, Sweden, Norway and the Netherlands. We'll no doubt be referring to this deal a few more times in this video, so do keep it in mind. Moving on to Latvia, this middle Baltic nation doesn't have true IFVs in the way we defined it at the start of this video, at least not yet. The country set to operate the Hunter IFV based on the Asgard II platform from Gadels currently sees its main combat forces using tracked ex-British Army armoured vehicles, which were acquired in the mid-2010s. Known as CVR-Ts, these are small armoured vehicles used for various tasks, including reconnaissance, patrolling, fire support and evacuation. Designed by Alvis, the CVR-T is a family of mobile air transportable armoured fighting vehicles, or AFV, comprising Scorpion, Spartan, Sultan, Samson and Scimitar, and also the Saracen armoured personnel carrier and the Saladin vehicle. Significant refurbishment and overhaul work was needed, as the vehicles were previously used by the British Army on operations around the world, in Bosnia and Herzegovina, Iraq and Afghanistan. The vehicles were delivered to Latvia in several batches between 2016 and 2020. In 2021, Latvia ordered an additional batch of 86, which were delivered in 2022. In 2018, it was reported that Latvia would be purchasing Israel-made Spike anti-tank guided missiles for its CVR-Ts at a cost of €108 million. As we mentioned earlier, Latvia will soon get a proper IFV in the form of the Hunter, the name for its Asgard II-based vehicles. It's understood that the turret for these will be the Israeli UT-30 Mark II from Elbit Systems, and the gun will be the 30mm Mark 44 Bushmaster II chain gun. A coaxial 7.62mm machine gun will be the secondary weapon, while it was suggested that the Spike LR2 could be the anti-tank guided missile system for this IFV. In addition to 3 crew members, Hunter will have a transport troop capacity of 8 fully equipped infantry soldiers. 84 of these vehicles have been ordered, and they're due to enter service in 2027. Moving on to Lithuania, we have the Vilkas, or Wolf, IFV. It's Lithuania's IFV version of the Boxer 8x8, which was purchased in the mid-2010s. Prior to the selection being announced, it was widely believed for nearly a year that the German Boxer would win the competition with a German RCT-30 turret and a 30mm cannon, as well as the American Javelin anti-tank missile system. However, at some crucial moment along the way, things changed, and the State Defense Council decided to purchase the Boxer with Israeli Rafael Samson 30 Mark II turrets and a 30mm Mark 44S cannon, as well as Israeli Spike anti-tank missile systems. Secondary armament is courtesy of a 7.62mm machine gun. The 8x8 IFVs entered service in July 2019, and over 100 of these are being used in the Lithuanian army. Lithuania will eventually grow its forces with another IFV in the form of the CV-90 Mark IV through the aforementioned joint procurement. The country is expected to order around 100 of these Swedish vehicles. Over in Poland, there are technically 3 different IFVs being used by the army. On the way out is the legacy BWP-1, the Polish designation for the Soviet-designed BMP-1. Having formed the core of the country's heavy mechanized forces for decades, it's actively being phased out and replaced by the Borsuk, with significant numbers having been transferred to support Ukraine. The vehicle features a 73mm 2A28 Grom low-pressure smoothbore semi-automatic main gun. Its replacement, the Borsuk, was first delivered in December 2025, but it'll take time to fully replace the BWP-1. Designed and made in Poland, Borsuks are amphibious tracked IFVs featuring a 3-person crew with capacity for 6 dismounts. They feature the unmanned ZSSW-30 turret system armed with a 30mm Bushmaster autocannon and Spike anti-tank guided missiles. A heavier IFV will eventually come to Poland's army in the form of the Ratel. This vehicle is expected to have the same armament as the Borsuk, but is designed to withstand direct fire from medium-caliber artillery as well as 30mm rounds at a distance of 500 meters. Its additional armor means more weight and a lack of amphibious ability. And finally, there's the KTO Rosamak, a licensed variant of the Finnish Patria AMV 8x8. With room for 6 to 8 dismounts, Poland's Rosamak IFV has a 30mm ATK Mark 44 Bushmaster II, along with 2 Spike LR or Javelin ATGMs. Secondary armament consists of one 7.62mm NATO UKM 2000C coaxial general-purpose machine gun. In terms of numbers, it's believed that there are about 350 Rosamak IFVs. The Borsuks are trickling in, and Poland is expecting hundreds of these in addition to hundreds of Ratel IFVs. Over in Germany, the Marder and Puma infantry fighting vehicles are the primary weapon systems of the armoured infantry, both having a capacity to carry 6 dismounts. The Puma entered service in 2015 and is fitted with a fully stabilized automatic cannon capable of precise target engagement at ranges of up to 3,000 meters while on the move. Some 600 of these tracked vehicles have been ordered. The fully tracked Marder, which entered service in the 1970s, is equipped with a 20mm rapid-fire weapon system. A few hundred of these are still in use, but are due to be fully replaced by the Puma. Finally, the basis of Germany's relatively new rapidly deployable medium forces is the Schakal infantry fighting vehicle, which combines the chassis of the Boxer-wheeled armoured vehicle with the turret of the tracked Puma infantry fighting vehicle. Germany is currently expecting 150 of these vehicles, but could very well order more in the future. Reaching the Nordics, we're now firmly in CV-90 land. Starting in Denmark, the nation's current CV-90 IFVs were phased into the Danish Armed Forces in 2007 and have a Bushmaster 3 35mm gun as main armament, with a 7.62mm machine gun as a secondary weapon. The 44 vehicles in the Danish Army each have a crew of 3 and space for 7 dismounts. Denmark has ordered 159 CV-90 35 Mark III Cs to replace these older machines. Announced in 2024, these are meant to replace a previously planned midlife extension program while also growing the army. Next is Norway, which has over 70 CV-90s in the IFV variant. These use a 30mm Bushmaster 2 gun as main armament and use a 7.62mm machine gun as a secondary weapon. In 2012, the Norwegian government awarded BAE Systems a contract to upgrade all 103 of the Army's CV-90 30s. The deal also included the production of 41 new chassis, bringing all Norwegian CV-90s to a common configuration by 2017. This particular upgrade saw the IFV chassis given upgraded armour and rubber tracks. All vehicles received a new engine to compensate for the increased weight, and the turret was upgraded with a new thermal camera, a new machine gun, and a new aiming system. The vehicle was also equipped with a Kongsberg Protector weapon station, carrying either a 12.7mm machine gun or 40mm grenade launcher. Norway plans to acquire approximately 80 new CV-90 Mark IV combat vehicles as part of a joint multinational Nordic initiative. Over in Sweden is the Stridsfordon 90, the Swedish designation of the CV-90 IFV. The basic Swedish CV-90, the Stridsfordon 9040, is fitted with a 2-man turret armed with a Bofors 40/70B autocannon and a coaxial 7.62mm machine gun. It also carries 6 76mm grenade launchers. ArmyRecognition.com says that the 9040C variant is the most heavily armoured version, which supersedes older variants like the original 9040 and the 9040A, B and B1. The C variant has additional all-round armour, laser filtering in all periscopes, and tropical-grade air conditioning. Due to the bulk and weight of the modifications, it's said that only 6 soldiers can be carried in the troop compartment. The website Hans Högman adds that in 2016 a refurbishment agreement was signed with FMV for upgrade of 262 older CV-90s. Modifications included a new command support system, refurbishment and upgrade of subsystems, and replacement of the Machine Gun 39 with the same externally mounted Machine Gun 58 as seen on the C version. In August 2020, the first 100 upgraded Stridsvagn 90s were delivered, with the vehicles being redesignated as D1, D2 or E variants, depending on which older model received the upgrade. In 2023, Sweden donated 51 of its CV-90 40Cs to Ukraine from its own stockpiles, and it's estimated that the Nordic nation still has over 300 CV-90s in the IFV configuration. Sweden ordered 50 new CV-90 or Stridsfordon 90 Mark III C combat vehicles from BAE Systems in December 2024 to replenish fleets and replace units sent to Ukraine, and it's believed that around 250 Mark IVs will be ordered by Sweden as part of that major joint procurement. Finally, we've reached Finland, which operates CV-90 30s, which were procured between 2002 and 2007. The vehicles have a 30mm Mark 44 Bushmaster 2 autocannon, along with a 7.62mm machine gun as secondary armament. The machine gun for Finland is a Soviet-designed 7.62mm PKMT coaxial machine gun, rather than 7.62 NATO standard caliber. The official Finnish Defence Forces website notes that its CV-90s have a crew of 3 and room for 8 dismounts. In July 2021, BAE Systems signed a contract with Finland to upgrade CV-90 IFVs, and the announcement said that a test vehicle would see the integration of Rafael's advanced defence system Spike LR. With no subsequent news about Finland's CV-90 upgrade program, it's unclear, at least to us, if the Army went through with equipping all of its CV-90 30 IFVs with the Spike system. Finland currently also operates around 100 BMP-2MD infantry fighting vehicles, which had extensive modernization take place between 2015 and 2019. The country is expected to order approximately 100 to 120 new CV-90 Mark IV units to complement its existing fleet and replace those aging Soviet-era BMP-2MDs. So there's your look at IFVs around the Baltic Sea plus Norway. Germany and Poland, the large nations that they are, have the luxury of fielding both tracked and wheeled IFVs, while considerably smaller and less well-resourced Estonia and Latvia have much smaller fleets of older vehicles. But again, things are set to change drastically for Latvia in the coming years. Lithuania is the only nation that currently relies on a wheeled IFV and nothing more, while the other Baltic and Nordic nations have decided on tracked IFV platforms. Wheeled platforms are great for getting to the front line faster, as long as soft and muddy terrain isn't part of the route. The tracked CV-90 reigns supreme in the Nordics, and this is set to continue with that major order coming soon. But what do you think of IFVs used in this part of Europe? Let us know by leaving a comment.